Hello guys, this is Aftermath again, doing another reading on, well, I'm pretty comfortable at saying it now, Preggity. We are reading Preggity today. See, I can say it. Yeah, I didn't want to keep saying, the fanfic that shall not be named, so I went ahead and now I'm comfortable with saying Preggity. So let's see, let's start on this reading called Preggity. Let's see, now we're on part 4, and this one's probably like the longest one I think so far that I've read. I actually read. I haven't been reading very much, but I already read part 5, and I actually like part 5. It's actually pretty tame. There's not really that much stuff going on, like sexual content. Anyway, part 4. This contains pregnant rarity, as always. Voyeurism, that is staring at. That's pretty much staring at like just spying on people doing sexual stuff, yeah, it's in there. Prehensile tale, minor food play, a foursome. Like that, huh? And who are they having a foursome with? Well, either you guys will be having a field day, or be very disappointed to know that like Twilight and Rainbow Dash fans are going to be having a field day, or they'll be greatly disappointed. Also, this part contains squirting, and you'll find out who that is. You can already guess or try to guess what that is, who that is. Of course, it's not going to be Rarity because she never did it before, but yeah, go ahead, take your bets. Twilight or Rainbow Dash, which one? Anyway, let's start. The kitchen smells of chocolate and walnut. Those are those are your thoughts as you attempt in vain to navigate the mess she's made without stubbing your foot up somewhere along the way. Pans lie scattered about. The countertops are in disarray, and crumbs and powdered chocolate litter the floor. You're shocked at the departure from cleanly norm, especially considering the 5 ponies in your living room. Why are there 5 ponies in my living room, Rarity? I did not say that we can have company over today. Anyway, she's opened up so much in the last few weeks that it's mystifying. It's as if you're observing some other pony from a parallel world, whose primary function isn't cleanliness and organization. You peer carefully over the bar separating the kitchen and the living room, watching her interact with her friends. Awesome, we have a bar. That's pretty cool. The ponies in the other room are enjoying themselves. They drink deeply from the glasses of punch and various assorted mixed drinks you've laid out for them, and they laugh loudly at each other's jokes and respective memories. Why y'all having punch? I guess there's no alcohol in Ponyville. I think it's outlawed or something. You're. Oh wait. Well, actually, I think in later parts they actually do have alcoholic beverages. Your time knowing them has been interesting, watching each of them settle into their various lives. Twilight giggles over a particular fond memory, as related by Applejack, and before long the entire apartment rings of their reminiscing laughter. Your wife is in there glowing, of course, surrounded on all sides by friends she's known, and shared times with for years upon end. Occasionally one of the ponies will be invited to fill her stomach, an opportunity to fill the fowl within her kick in its restless waiting period. Here, secluded in the kitchen, their memories washing over you, you can't help but feel the outsider. Feel the what? Feel the outsider. Don't you? Well, never mind. I'm not going to try to rephrase that because I'm going to screw it up more. So much has happened between them prior to your surprising arrival. Oh, and it's going to start explaining the arrival of how you got here and everything. So much continued to happen without you even as you what? Let's read this again. So much continued to happen without you even as you fell for one of them. Yeah, that's wrong. You can probably mix that up. I'm not feeling in the mood of trying to fix sentences right now. I just want to read this. Married her, and moved in with her. Their long stretching tales speak of a simpler time, when all of their futures and pressures and desires seemed so distant. Now that they're settled into their respective lives, you can't help but watch as they discuss times gone by when their futures could have been anything and everything they'd ever wanted. Not that they're discontented. You've had long discussions with the pony you love about the dreams and aspirations she once held. Her expectations have since settled on more reasonable goals, though her strong mind for business and incredible talent at what she does will more than prove themselves in the years to come by both of your estimation. With the boutique closed for remodeling and preparation of the child she carries, you've both settled on a future plan in which she is allowed to continue her work. Still, in her current state, yours is the role of provider, a role she has willingly accepted. You can't help but imagine that the other ponies have reached compromises of their own. Their present station's pleasant enough to warrant no misgivings about what they come or could have been or done. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. The timer on the oven screeches at you. Shocked at the sudden outburst, you slap at it, not knowing quite what to do, and this is the part that insults my intelligence. I'm not that stupid, you know. I mean, I know it's kind of, a girl's job to be in the kitchen, but you know what? That's a joke, by the way. I'm not really into it. I'm not sexist or anything. But anyway, just saying, I'm not that dumb. I could probably figure out how to fix an oven. I've done it before. After a few moments of fumbling around the time you fear, you've turned every dial on the oven. She sighs and slides off the couch, excusing herself politely to come examine the simple task that you've successfully complicated. As she crosses the short distance from the living room to the kitchen, your eyes catch her careful stride, still graceful in spite of her not quite so customary weight and bearing. As she reaches you, your eyebrow lifts accusingly. Are you trying to burn them? Goodness. Stop fiddling with that timer and pull them out before they singe. You sigh, pulling open the oven door as she reaches up and slaps the button you're sure you've pressed at least twice, and the din filling the room ceases. Now you can hear her friends, still talking as you draw the oven door open. Heat assails your face unexpectedly. It's surprisingly humid. Drawing breath is difficult, and you sputter a bit. You look to the unicorn at your side for support, but she's too busy chatting around the peninsula that the oven shares to notice your worried glances. With no oven mitts forthcoming, you slip your hands under your shirt, hoping it's sufficient to ward off the burning oven rack as you grip it quickly. You know, that's actually something I would probably do if I'm too lazy to find a oven mitt. I'd probably just go grab it with my shirt. I don't know. I'd actually also be kind of afraid that I'd start catching my shirt on fire or something. So, but I guess this comic has teach me something. Don't grab the oven rack with your shirt and your hands under it, because you'll still burn. Succeeding through an artful maneuver of rapid, quick-gripped pulls, you wrench the rack out until the heat of the cake is almost directly under your leaning figure. The sudden aroma of the delicious confection is overpowering. Pinkie Pie's recipe is masterful, and Rarity's execution of it is exactly what you'd expect from the precisely operating pony. Excited to try it, you grip the first pan with your shirt-covered hands, and draw back with a quiet gasp. Oh wait, never mind. I was talking about when I was talking about the shirt thing. I guess it didn't burn me, but this coming part will burn my hands for some reason. I'll have to read it. So, yeah, I don't remember this chapter too much, but it's the little things. And draw back a quiet gasp. Your back bumps against the cabinets behind you, and you blow fiercely on your burning hands. Wait. Okay, never mind. Dropping the handful of shirt proves useless also. Its burning hot surface cling to your skin and singe your stomach. Eliciting another quick gasp of pain, you've got her attention now, and though the conversation continues from the other side of the bar, you're both behind. She's at your side in an instant. Good heavens! What have you done? Your eyes shift towards the oven racks, and the 3 pans of cake float off before they can continue to cook past their time. She sets them down gently on the tiled floor around the oven, horn aglow with the effort, before turning to you. You can continue to blow on your hand in rapid bursts, more than a little frustrated that she couldn't expend that minimal courtesy a moment sooner to save you from the trouble and pain. The feeling must be obvious, because she's moved her snout quickly to your ear, whispering softly into it. "Oh dear, I'm so sorry. It slipped in my mind that you might need. Here, let me see them." You struggle for a moment to fight the innate urge that keeps your hands clenched to your chest, finally besting it and extending them to her. The skin is red, obviously a little damaged, but painful nonetheless. "Poor baby. How is it? Can you feel them with them?" Your hands extend to her coat, brushing up against it, at first before seeking sanctuary in the softness of the texture. She blushes at the sudden touch. The new sensation of the feeling is overwhelmed quickly by the screaming nerves in your hands, and you involuntarily rub at her fur, trying to drive out the painful cries of your hands in the abundant pillowy softness she provides. She shivers a bit as your pace increases, your sense of touch only intensifying at the stimulation. Rarity backs away a bit, smiling. "Let's get some water on them. Come on now, hold them still." You hold your hands out and she begins to lick at them, her silky tongue brushing over and over against the aggravated surface of your palms. The relief is almost instantaneous, and you let yourself slide down against the cool floor tiles as you get more comfortable. Slowly other sensations return to you. The conversation in the other room slowly drifts back into your ears, and though you're unable to pick up on the topic, expect it never skipped a beat despite your unexpected situation. Rarity continues to work her tongue over your palms with a great deal of interest, shielding from prying eyes as she lends her own soft wetness to the now hypersensitive surface of your hands. The feeling is amazing, and you let out a soft sigh. Wow, am I that much? Is that I'm not that sensitive. Am I serious? Really? Jeez. I mean, yeah, I've been burnt before, like really bad, but you know. Well, I gotta tell you that time. I mean, like I was trying to light a firework or something, and like it's one of those big, whatchamacallums, artillery shells or whatever. I had to light that thing with a match because all of our lighters went out, so I just lit that thing with a match and it like scraped across my skin when it was lit, so it like made a big old dark line on it, and then I put my hand in the freaking freezer or whatever. It's like a bunch of cold ice water, and you either had to put my hand in there and like feel the screaming or the freaking high like really bad cold. I can't think of any words. It's really cold, and I either had to stick it in there or take it out and feel the burn. So it kind of sucks. Oh my god, I'm going off topic. Okay, back to this thing. Her ears perk up as she picks up on it, and she eyes you warily. "Don't you think this is anything special now? Gracious me, whimpering over such a little thing. Are you a man or a mouse?" You sigh again, tone shifted to express your disagreement, and she looks at you with a raised eyebrow. "What? You feel differently?" She speaks in a hushed whisper, voice dropping in volume against the loud peals of laughter and storytelling going on in the other room. "Honestly, acting as though this is some sort of battle scar. Here, look now. It's not that hot." She pauses from her impromptu, or whatever you call it, first aid, and dips a hoof into one of the pans of still soft cake and holds it up where you can see it. You're certain you can see steam coming off of it, but her hooves are resilient, and her fur thick. She spreads a line of the soft and steaming cake across her chest and down her round stomach, ending at one of her widened hips. You distract yourself from her showing off by rubbing the surface of your still burning stomach under your shirt. She lets out a soft tut-tut of her tongue at the lack of attention. "Just how much of your thin skin did you burn? Honestly, sometimes I feel as if our roles are reversed, and I'm forced to be your Prince Charming." "Well, excuse me, princess." Anyway. Yeah, and like, we kind of provide for her, so, I don't know. How about I just stop, providing for you, huh? How about I just stop all that, and you can do it all yourself, huh, Miss Prince? Anyway, she dips her head under your shirt, looking at the still sensitive patch of skin. You let out a quick gasp, not expecting her intrusion. Despite the heat of the room, her nose is cold and her tongue wet and warm. The dicho, I don't know how to pronounce that, dichotomy or something, unfolding beneath your shirt because it causes you to clench your hands, eliciting a sharp gasp as the sudden sensation of burned fingertips pressing into warm palms sends shocks up your arm. You bury them desperately in her thick rolls of flesh surrounding her flanks, rubbing your flanks up and down to soothe your burning. Rubbing gets more desperate as the pain drowns off the softness once more, and your hands scramble about, brushing it against her taut stomach, down to the incredibly soft inside of her legs, and finally settling between them. Oh, geez. Here I go again, being a tease. Heat is lost upon you in your current condition, and so it's the moistness of her womanhood that first alerts you to her arousal. You try to shoot her a confused glance, but she's buried beneath your shirt. She's slowly making her way down your stomach, lingering far longer than she needs to, and you ease both of you onto your sides. Oh, geez, what are we doing? I mean, there's like people in the other room, and we're like in a little tiny apartment, and we're all like all of a sudden like going into sexual acts. Are you serious? I mean, there's like people in the other room, and you can hear them. I mean, what's going on in this story, man? This guy, whoever made this, has some pretty crazy fantasies here. Because, it has to be his fantasies that to think of such things, Who knows? I could probably write the same exact thing, but, I don't really want to do all that crap. But, who knows? But I'm just going to continue because I'm going off topic, rambling and such. From there, you awkwardly try to rotate yourself, keeping your head tangled in the mess of your shirt as you get your face to the place where she spread the cake. The scent is amazing. Her own vanilla bath salts mingling with the chocolate and walnuts just cooling on her glossy ivory coat. Your tongue slides up and down, her fuzzy texture extending the majority of the baked goodness to your eager tongue. She slips a hoof down her body, trying desperately to maneuver around her stomach to her privates. Carefully and quickly, you guide her hoof there. She can barely reach around the mince ballooning expanse of her stomach, and she muffles her gasp in your skin as she reaches her most pleasurable place. You feel the intake and exhale of breath as she begins to work up as good a motion as she can, her back legs kicking in the air. You rub her tummy gently and encouragingly, eagerly. Wow, that's a lot of like adverbs or whatever you call them. Eagerly awaiting the desperate gasp that will signal her proximity to orgasm. You fill those moments by playing with her tail, wrapping it around your hand, and yanking it gently, each tug eliciting a break in her gasping rhythm. Finally, the breaths beneath your shirt grow quick and long, and you feel her body convulsing. You rub her bottom, gripping handfuls of flank as her wetness drips into her hooves. There's a nipping at your stomach as she stifles and climax washing over her with a mouthful of your tender and sensitive abs. Her body shakes in your arms, and you keep her quiet, mindful of the conversation in the other room, making sure it doesn't miss a beat. It doesn't. Oh my god, man. And she's done now. Wasn't that exciting, You know that there's people in the other room, and you're just playing with her freaking pony pussy, and it's like, ugh. Like, what the heck? Freaking, she has no, well, she's not scared to do anything, I guess you can say. You can watch, well, actually, we're going to that soon. I'll show you how much she likes to reveal herself. But anyway, she comes in your hands, or arms, quivering and writhing under her careful supervision. And when she surfaces, her face is flushed and her mane tangled. You straighten it for her as she regains her composure, positively beaming at you. You know how she's longed to reach herself. Your hands in entirely different stimulation than the hooves she raised herself with. You content yourself knowing she got to feel something that she hasn't felt in many months, and kiss her nose gently. The tender moment breaks as quickly as it comes, Pinkie Pie's characteristic voice traveling throughout the room and reaching your cloistered section of the kitchen. The others are wondering where you've gotten to, your disappearance having been more than a few minutes long. Oh gee, I wonder what they're doing in there. Ha. Yeah, gee, I wonder what this guy in Aftermath or they'd probably tell my real name, but and Rarity are doing in the kitchen. They couldn't be simply just playing with themselves, right? Right, guys? That would just be wrong. Rarity straightens herself up quickly, still glistening hooves grabbing the now relatively cool pans. Her wet hooves leave trails of her juices across the cakes, and she recoils, relieving as the afterglow fades and she's done. You grip her shoulder reassuring and smile at her, standing up to run your hands across cold water. She joins you, calling out to them over her shoulder. Apologies, ladies. The cake were far hotter than initially expected. Just need to run some cold water over my hooves for a moment. Various inquiries of concern God dang, what's with my freaking voice or speech today? Concern float into the narrow kitchen, and she breathes a sigh of relief between edited explanations. The ruse obviously successful. The ponies in the other room don't expect a thing as her pristine hooves scoop up the pans, and she cuts slices for everyone. As you continue to run genuinely burning hands under the cold faucet, she levitates the plates and trots them out into the living room with her friends, offering more apologies to a chorus of kindly assurance. You walk into the living room and sink into the couch next to her, drying your hands on her coat, the eliciting of grumpy look from her, but it fades quickly as you rub her sensitive hands into her coat. You observe the others quietly as they continue their conversation, each taking bites of the cake. The first to dig in, as always, Pinky herself, comments on the very original flavor, complimenting Rarity for having made the recipe her own. This prompts the others to quickly take a polite bite. Applejack and Fluttershy also grin and smile, offering praises to the unique flavor and texture before returning to a complex story. And people better not put Fluttershy in any story like this, because I will be very mad and I won't like it too much, because Fluttershy is my favorite pony. Aside from, she's my favorite main pony. Actually, my favorite pony is Vinyl Scratch, as you can tell. But anyway, you catch a glance between Twilight and Rainbow Dash. Oh yeah, and don't make any freaking fanfics like Cupcakes or freaking this comic, or why am I calling freaking comics? It's fanfics, duh. But anyway, don't even think about making any comic, or god dang it, fanfics. Don't make any fanfics about Vinyl Scratch, because I won't read them. They're too much for me. Maybe I'll read one. One won't hurt. Anyway, I'm going to continue on so I don't ramble too long. You catch a glance between Twilight and Rainbow Dash as they take a bite. This look goes unnoticed between the preoccupied ponies. Be assured Rarity notices it as well. You can feel her straighten up a bit on the couch you're sharing, tail flicking slightly, a subtle sign you've picked up on the tails when she's nervous. Neither Dash nor Twilight make any comments on the cake's flavor, and the conversation plays itself out for another half hour before the ponies are all stretching. By now the sun... What the heck was that? No, that's something in the other room. By now the sun is low enough, it's just the TV, that it's making its way through your little apartment's windows. One by one, the conversation shifts towards the things that still need doing in the evening, some tasks seeming monumental in light of the remaining hours in the day. Rarity takes to her feet to show her guests out. Before leading them forward, she politely asks Twilight and Rainbow Dash if they wouldn't mind staying to clean up. She offers a half-hearted excuse about your burned hands, and even as she shows out the remaining 3 ponies, you can't guess that she'd want to keep the 2 who might be suspicious of your cooking craziness around for her. You politely walk with her, taking Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, and Applejack out the door, and down the hall to the stairs. Led by Fluttershy, they coo over her, not needing to exert herself, and bid their farewells. As they disappear down the stairs and towards the exit, you feel a nervous tug at your hand, and you look down to see Rarity's hair wrapped around it. You smile and squeeze it reassuringly, walking up the hall with her back to her room. Door still hanging slightly open where you left it. The light from the one long window in the living room snakes through the foyer and spills messily out into the hall through the small open expanse. As you near it, two slivers of clumsy shadows are framed against the hall wall. Gee, what the frick are they going on in there? You can't see their motions toward each other, and from the open door you can hear a light giggle and a frustrated sigh. Oh God, not! They better not be doing what I think they're doing. Not in my house. You walked on the, you walked on, yeah, blah. You walk on toward the door out of habit, stopped only by the tug of hair. Looking behind you, Rarity has her head tilted, ears twitching in an attempt to pick up sounds at a much wider range than yours can. Her eyes are wide, and her jaw slowly lowers, stretching your own senses to their limits. You can hear the occasional thump and giggle. You look down at Rarity, realization dawning. Their recognition of the taste, their glances, their hurried and loud conversations throughout the afternoon. There's no doubt about it in your mind, and you let slip a mischievous grin, leaning down to your patient spouse's side. The unicorn leans in until her mouth is almost touching your ear, whispering in as hushed a tone as she can manage. Honestly, I didn't expect this. It's just, what do we do, darling? I mean, I don't want to startle them. They're my friends. Not that I'm bothered by it. What they do is, oh my, it's so, and to catch them in the act. Oh, you better not be thinking what I think they're freaking doing. Not in my house. I'm gonna go freaking run them out. Hold on a second. You raise an eyebrow and lean back at this, looking skeptical. Oh, very well. Not caught in the act. But if we could, it's just that, why would they hide it? They're among friends. Certainly they could discuss such things openly. Decision made. You lean down, scooping her up, carefully intent on reclaiming your house regardless of what filly foolery that might be taking place in it right now. She bites her lip as you pull her into your arms, her flanks up first. But once her nose is near your ear and over your shoulder, she makes her displeasure known. Absolutely not. I'll not just barge in on them. Who knows when the last time they got to. Oh dear, it's all so much to consider. Where else, where else can we go? Where else can we go to if not our home? That's right. That's why we need to run them out. They can't freaking do that in our house, unless we're there. I guess I don't know. Nah, that's freaking. I wouldn't have like those people do that. Man, what am I talking about? This is freaking fanfic. You're already making your for the door at this point, but you slip off your shoes carefully, trying not to lose your balance. Her protests silence for fear of alerting the unicorn and Pegasus in the other room, and you creep up to the door. Careful evenings spent slinking into the apartment late at night are now put into practice as you navigate past every board you know will creak. The many nights long labor of not waking your wife as you return from work culminates in a silent stride. Even with the load of chubby white pony in your arms, your footfalls are softer than any hard hoof fall could dream to be. Your feet making a careful path in the door, silently brushing it open and slinking down to the cover of the kitchen on your immediate left, behind the peninsula that shielded you earlier. The sounds are easier to pick up now. Twilight's rapid breathing, Dash's constant giggling, the occasional flutter of wings alerting you to the fact that things might be further than you expected. Great. All the noises in the room confirm your suspicions many times over. Oh my God, they're doing it in my house! You listen, unsure of where to go from here. Beside you, Rarity huddles on her hind legs, back pressing against the cabinet. She glances over at you for every few seconds. Face a mixture of fear and concern. On the other side of the bar, the noises catch in pitch and moan. Twilight is moaning loudly now. The sound of couch cushions being pressed and creaking carries easily to your position. The moans only intensify, and you can feel yourself growing hard listening to them. Oh my God, no! Worried about her reaction if she discovers it, you still glance over at Rarity. The I don't know what else to say that word. Dynafied? I don't know. I just assume it'd be like the sign, but it's with a D, so it's Dynafied or something. Lady slumped almost onto her back against the cabinets. Sex drive has won against conflict. She's trying desperately to maneuver her hooves around her enormous center of mass to her soaking womanhood. A few glistening puddles of wetness coats the tiled floor beneath her, and you ease her onto her knees, flanks in the air. You spread her lower lips with your capable finger, and look around her expansive posterior at your face for some sign of confirmation. Pressed ear to the floor, she nods vigorously. You slip your tongue in, and she bites down on her hair to stop from crying out. The sensation is unlike any you've experienced. Her wetness is astounding. Having been worked up twice in such a short period, the sensation is akin to tasting a fruit whose juices wait just beneath the surface. Beautiful poetry you got there. The moment your tongue touches the inside, your mouth is filled with moist liquid. Her wetness gushes forth, practically a stream of lubricant dribbling down her legs and dripping onto the floor with a smacking sound that seems far louder than it is. Her hooves kick and threaten to scuff around the floor, so he lifted them up cautiously, leaving her spread eagle. At this point, you're nearly drinking her, sweet and tangy inner honey coating your cheeks and dribbling down your chin. Using your tongue, you spread the abundance of liquid across her flanks, finally reaching the tender pucker above her love canal and dripping as much of her wetness across it as you can before looking into it. Your tongue drives into a place it's not once gone before, and her shock is evident. Her legs squirm and she kicks, self-consciousness flooding to the surface even above her raging horniness. She lets out a squeak of protest, and the noise in the other room ceases immediately. Cries of confusion from both Unicorn and Pegasus fill the room as they shift desperately to more natural positions on the couch, all the while no doubt trying to discern your location. Oh, jeez. Good job, Rarity. You just made us. They found out about us now. A few moments of silence creep by. Finally, nervously, Twilight raises her voice, asking for either you or Rarity. Looking desperately over her shoulder at you for her sanctuary, but knowing the right thing to do, Rarity dislodges herself from her grip and trots out of her hiding place. She attempts to straighten her mane as she goes, and you stand up too, straightening your shirt and wiping off your mouth. You watch the expression of shock from the two ponies on the couch shift to nervous embarrassment, and Rarity approaches them in an attempt to soothe over the situation, or smooth over. I'm sorry, girls. It's just, you seemed like you were having so much fun, and, well, it would be terribly rude to interrupt. Goodness knows how long you've been. She searches for an appropriate, non-offensive term. Her social grace is still intact. How long you've been together, unable to act. I just thought it would be a shame to spoil that. Yes, and I guess Twilight and Rainbow Dash are now lesbians, so in this fanfic they are. I don't know if they aren't confirmed in real pony time, so they're the original creators. So who knows? Rainbow Dash is always stereotyped as a lesbian, but I don't know about Twilight. I think she's alright. So I was kind of surprised when I saw this. But anyway, by now she's reached the couch. You girls now know you could tell me anything. We wouldn't tell a soul. We never will. You've my words as a lady. She straightens her back and neck here, placing special emphasis on lady, and looking at both of them with as much of a reassuring manner as she can. Still no words are forthcoming, but Dash and Twilight exchange hurried glances, eyes wandering over the unicorn you've married, too. You follow their glance and sigh. Even now, hard at work, salvaging everyone's pride for them. She's so wet she's trickling down the inside of her flank. How she can muster such confidence in the wake of surely knowing that fact baffles you, and you move slowly to take her side, hoping to boast her confidence. I'm sure she really wishes she had pants right now or something. Dash reaches her first. Thanks for consideration are exchanged, and then a kiss on the cheek. Rarity sighs at the touch, and you watch her in interest as she deflates like a balloon at the first kiss. Oh, jeez. Yeah, well, Dash is a lesbian in this. You can already tell that. Cautiously, Dash kisses her cheek again, earning another sigh. Rarity's gaze is fixed on some invisible spot on the wall, and Dash moves into her vision, pushing lips against lips now. You move forward a little more, unsure of what to do, waiting for things to unfold on your own. You look at Twilight to guidance, ever the source of wisdom between you two. She's not on the couch anymore. At some point, she's slunk from her seat to a position behind Dash. Meeting your eyes, she shrugs and moves forward to a position directly behind Rainbow Dash, sliding a hoof between the colorful pony's legs. Oh, jeez, Twilight, why? Why, Twilight? You're my third favorite pony. And Dash is, like, right behind you. Almost, well, I can't say almost quite literally, but, because, yeah. She begins to work it back and forth, and Dash practically melts off of Rarity's lips and onto the floor with a sigh. Mindful of her now stiffening wings, wing boner. Man, what's with my freaking tongue today? It's not working correctly. I guess it's from blowing in the horn so much or something. Just playing music all the time. Just making my tongue all screwed up. Pegasus rolls onto her back and spreads her legs. Rarity looks over her shoulder to you for some reason, some idea of what to do next as Twilight sinks towards the ground, working her hoof around over Dash's glistening slit. You finally approach Rarity as she stands stiff, two of her best friends engaged into something so intimate at her hooves. The moment you're within range, her tail flicks up, pulling around one of her legs gently, tugging at it for support. You move into her, resting a hand on her flank with the hope of dispelling some confusion. You lean down to nibble on her ear. Your own hearing is filled with the wet love sounds of the two ponies at your feet, and you press up against your wife's ample flanks. The simple act brings the earlier erection rushing back, and in seconds it's straining against your pants for release. Rarity gives you a subtle nod, and you mentally thank her as you manage to your way out of your confining jeans and boxers with all possible haste. Oh man, my mouth's getting dry. Man, I should have really got a drink before this, Now it's like making these stupid little click noises. Urgh. That's going to be really annoying when I listen to it. I'm sure it's going to be annoying to other people. Maybe I can move this mic around or something. I don't know. Yeah. The two ponies below her don't pay your sudden disrobing any mind. Having moved forward to kissing, pent up and long hidden passion finally surfacing in the room of trust you've given them. You press yourself hard against Rarity's flanks, hoping she's not grown too awkward to becoming involved at this position. Twilight and Dash are a tangle of hooves and tails, as Rarity finally sighs and wiggles her bottom against your firm rod. You slip your hand down to her flanks, gripping handfuls of flesh, tired of observing, and slide in. Juices abundant in filling her, splash and squirt out around your thick pole. The number of times both of you have been denied in the past few hours has culminated into something monstrous, and her knees buckle on the second hard thrust. On the Twilight's level, Rarity receives a mouthful of unicorn tongue. Dash squirms underneath Twilight, managing to position her face beneath Twilight's hips, and began to vigorously suck on Lavender Pony's labia. You can hear Twilight's moaning coming out of Rarity's mouth, but having passed the initial shock of it, Rarity is now reciprocating. On the other end of the thrusting manhood, Rarity works Twilight's mouth expertly, eyes half-lidded, occasional moan slipping out from between their locked lips. And now Rarity's bisexual. Twilight is the first to come, breaking her lip lock with Rarity only moments before the sliding onto her side, where she pulls Dash. Hold on. Man, my freaking mouth is getting so dry because it's like, this is like the longest freaking part of the whole thing I've read so far. I don't know what part A is going to be like, but it's supposed to be like the freaking monster chapter of the whole thing. Man, I gotta get a drink before doing that one. Where she pulls Dash in for a quick and hard kiss. The two roll around on the floor, finally settling with Twilight, rubbing herself against one of Dash's wings, as she hooves the weather pony's woman hoof womanhood with passionate motions. You can hear Dash grunting stubbornly, holding out as long as she can, but finally the pleasure builds up and her legs kick wildly. Love juice is gushing out of her in a forced cum stream that carries on a good foot and a half up the other Rarity's body. So yeah, it was Dash that squirted. So just to let you know, there you go. So Dash Better's pretty much won. And anyway, it splashes onto the unicorn's face, and as Dash bucks around, the stream travels onto her back, continuing in an erratic arc downward into parts of her legs, and hooves are wet too. There's a shiver on the other end of your steady thrusting, and the unicorn you're pushing into slips out of, man, of any remaining genteel behavior. Is misspelled gentle? I never heard of that word, so genteel, if that's a word, then yeah. Then it's genteel. With a whinny of lust and want, she furiously bucks her hips backwards, with each of your thrusts jarring your body in a way certain to leave your pelvis bruised. You find yourself ramming it just as hard as each shove, the collisions shaking both of you as her moans become screams, and her hooves claw at the carpet. Your hands grip into the flanks for purchase as you bite your lip, desperate to hold out. You flex inside of her, and she responds by tightening around you. Their tail flails around wildly, nearly clipping your face on a few occasions. Oh, jeez, watch where you're swinging there. You know ponytails, wait, oh, never mind, you're saying tails. I thought, they were saying legs. Yeah, just watch out for those legs, too, because you don't want to get kicked in the face by a pony. That wouldn't feel too good. You'd probably not be feeling anything anymore anyway. Anyway, her back legs giving out, forcing you to your knees as you push her roughly and unceremoniously onto her side. Dash and Twilight have recovered by now. They watch carefully before making their way toward her prone body. Twilight's lips find Rarity's. Dash's hooves find your snow-white unicorn's clit, and the two work together and drive her over the edge. Her eyes have half-lidded at this point, pupils dilating crazily. Screaming escape Twilight's persistent kisses whenever she withdraws her tongue for air. On your end, you feel her clenching, the warm wetness overpowering, dribbling down your overly slick shaft and onto the carpet. With a final thrust, your seed gushes out, flooding her. The force of your orgasm rocks you, each supposed ending to its misleading. On the heels of it, another gushing explosion of semen. Rarity goes quiet, eyes lidding up almost entirely shut, nearly blacked out from the sheer explosive pleasure that has rocked all of her most sensitive places. Gee, that must be pretty amazing then. She was about to pass out from all that. You slouch down next to her, pulling out, cum pouring out from her, still slowly excreting more into the carpet beside her. Her panting is heavy, her body is heaving. Twilight and Dash are covered in sweat, spit, and juices. You all look at each other and the unicorn you worked so hard on. It's several minutes before she can breathe evenly enough to get a word out. Finally, she pants out a slightly coherent sentence. Getting dark outside. You girls, you should stay the night. Carefully, the three of you move to her bedroom, and there sleep takes you in a tangle of wings, horns, and bed sheets. And that's the end of part friggin' 4. Jeez. And this is introducing more ponies into the sex acts. Although part 5 isn't, they don't come back. Well, they do for like half the reading, but this is part 4, and part 5 is going to be much better because, well, for me it is. If you're right now wanting to listen to this for the sexual acts, well, you're probably going to be a little disappointed about part 5, except it does still have sexual acts in it. Just not as intense, because this was probably the most intense chapter, too, I guess. Well, more intense than part 3. Part 3 was a freaking weird chapter. You all know how that's going. Part 4, though, that was intense. And I don't have much to say about that one. I mean, part 4 is just more sex and with extra pony. And yeah, and Dash and Twilight are lesbians, and they come out of the closet. Well, they They seem to come out of the closet the next part, even though they were already doing it with each other. And Rarity is also bisexual, apparently. So anyway, keep on watching. Expect part 5 to come out sometime later. And I'll be doing more TF2 commentaries, obviously. So, next time, guys. Later.